Interesting. I had never really thought about this until they started talking about it. The possibility that the guy at the door, who we've been looking at for so long now, could be dead.
But I just had a thought, that person may have been eliminated also.
So the person we see at the front door could be dead, killed by someone else.
Whoever this guy is at the door, if he is caught, if he's alive, and is caught, he will lead down the spider web to the center, where you will find somebody who is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
A quiet Tucson neighborhood. A doorbell camera flickers on. A figure walks up to a door that should never have opened. You have seen that footage. You have studied that man's face. You have watched him grab the shrubbery, adjust his mask, move like someone who is nervous but still moving forward. But here is what nobody told you. While Nancy Guthrie was missing, the FBI had a plane on the ground, a fixed-wing aircraft, fueled, ready, waiting to move critical DNA evidence to the best forensic laboratory in the entire world, the FBI lab at Quantico, Virginia. And someone said no, not a bureaucratic delay, not a scheduling conflict, a decision. A specific person made a specific choice to ground that plane and send the evidence somewhere else entirely. By the end of this video, you will know exactly who made that call, why it may have cost this investigation everything, and what FBI Director Kash Patel said publicly, on the record, about being locked out of this case during the 4 most critical days of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And you will know something else, something that changes every assumption you have made about the man on that doorbell camera. The profilers working this case, former FBI agents, criminal psychologists, people who have spent decades inside the minds of killers, they are no longer sure that man is still alive. If you are new to Crime Orbit, subscribe right now. This case is moving, and you need to be here when it breaks. Here is everything we know. To understand how a sheriff can ground an FBI plane and lock federal agents out of a missing persons case, you need to understand exactly what evidence existed, what decision was made, and how many hours disappeared while that aircraft sat waiting. Every investigator will tell you the same thing. The first 48 hours of a missing persons case are everything. Witnesses still remember. Physical evidence is still fresh. Digital trails are still warm. The window is open, but it does not stay open. Now imagine someone closing that window deliberately. FBI Director Kash Patel went on Sean Hannity's podcast and said something that stopped this investigation's followers cold. He said the FBI was kept out of the Nancy Guthrie investigation for 4 full days, not 4 hours, 4 days. He did not say it casually. He said it with the specificity of someone who had been sitting on this frustration for months. I had a fixed-wing aircraft ready to move it through the night, Patel said. That aircraft was going to Quantico. The FBI's DNA laboratory at Quantico is not just good, it is the most advanced forensic DNA facility in the world. Patel wanted the evidence there immediately. Instead, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos sent the DNA to a private laboratory in Florida. A lab his department routinely uses. A private lab with no connection to the federal resources already mobilized and waiting. Here is the evidence at the center of that decision. Inside Nancy Guthrie's home, investigators recovered a hair, a rootless hair. Now, rootless hair is forensically difficult. The DNA available from a hair without a root is limited, degradable, and demands the most sophisticated analysis possible. That hair went to Florida. It sat there for months before it was eventually transferred to Quantico, the exact outcome Patel's plane was designed to prevent. The Pima County Sheriff's Office released a statement. They said coordination with the FBI began without delay. They said decisions about evidence were made based on operational needs. They said both laboratories have worked in close partnership from the outset. What they did not say is why a fixed-wing FBI aircraft sitting on the ground was not enough to change that decision. The FBI was not just kept out of a meeting, they were kept away from a missing woman during the hours when finding her was still possible. The FBI was blocked, the evidence was delayed, and the only image anyone had of a suspect was a figure on a doorbell camera. Now the question every investigator is quietly asking, was that man even working alone? And is he still alive? You have been looking at the man on that doorbell camera for 3 months. You have watched him move, watched him grab the shrubbery, watched the double gloves, the mask, what appeared to be extra layers of clothing underneath his jeans. You assumed he was the one who did this. Now look again, because the profilers brought in to analyze this case. Former FBI agents Dr. Amber Burgess, whose work directly inspired the television series Mindhunter, and criminal psychologist Dr. Gary Brucato. They are not looking at that man as the architect of this crime anymore. They are looking at him as someone who was used. It was well planned. They've gotten away with it, and they've pulled a type of case that we've never seen before. Dr. Burgess said, "Whoever this guy is at the door, if he is caught, if he's alive, he will lead down the spider web to the center, if he is alive." Retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell identified 5 reasons investigators now believe this man was not working alone and may no longer be living. 1. The planning sophistication of this crime does not match the erratic, apparently impaired behavior of the man on screen. 2 different intelligence levels. 1 operation. 2. O'Connell noted from the beginning that the doorbell suspect appeared to be under the influence. People hired to commit crimes they don't want to commit sometimes use substances to go through with it. This is a documented behavioral pattern. 3. The $1.2 million reward on the table makes silence almost impossible to maintain. No mastermind can pay someone more than that, which means a loose end becomes a liability. 4. The man on camera is identified. His backpack was recognized. He is the one face law enforcement has. The person above him has every reason to make sure that face never speaks. 5. If you're planning a clean operation, that would be the way to do it, O'Connell said. He could have been gone within 24 hours. Do you think the man on that doorbell camera was working alone, or is someone else running this entire operation? Tell Crime Orbit in the comments right now. If the man on that camera is already dead, then the person who ordered this is still free, still out there. And according to investigators, they may be someone Nancy Guthrie's world already knew, just not Nancy herself. Here is a distinction that changes everything about this case. The profilers are not saying the suspect knew Nancy Guthrie. They are saying the suspect knew of her. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between a personal grudge and a calculated, directed operation. Someone identified Nancy, studied her, chose her, and then hired someone else to execute the plan. So who knew of Nancy Guthrie without necessarily knowing her personally? Investigative profiler Jim Fitzgerald made a specific recommendation to investigators. He said go back through 10 years of Savannah Guthrie's correspondence, emails, notes sent to her team, communications to her security detail, every piece of digital contact from anyone who ever tried to reach the Today Show anchor and never got a response. Because here is what that thread suggests. Someone may have developed an obsession with Savannah Guthrie, a public figure, heavily protected, unreachable. And when they could not get to her, they found another route. Someone less protected. Someone who loved her publicly and visited her on national television. Her mother. The suspect pool this opens is not small. It includes audience members, service workers at the Tucson home going back decades. Anyone who saw Nancy on the Today Show and felt something shift inside them. Right now, investigators are running forensic genetic genealogy on the available evidence. This is the same technology that identified the Golden State Killer after decades of silence. It is slow, methodical, and it works. There are still 30,000 tips that came in during the first wave of this investigation. More arrive every day. The $1.2 million reward is not just a public appeal. It is active pressure on everyone who knows something and has not yet decided if staying quiet is worth it. Someone could tell their wife, when couples break up, go right to the ex. They'll tell you everything you want to know, O'Connell said. This case has not gone cold. It has gone quiet. Those are not the same thing. Subscribe to Crime Orbit. Every update on this case, the moment it happens. Do you think the connection to Nancy runs through Savannah's public life? Or is the person responsible someone much closer to home? 3 months in. One woman still missing, a sheriff who grounded an FBI plane, a doorbell suspect who may already be dead, and a mastermind who has left nothing visible behind. So, where does this case actually stand right now? Here is where we are. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. No arrest has been made. No suspect has been publicly named. No confirmed location has ever been established. Let those facts sit for a moment. The FBI had a plane on the ground. That plane never left. The most critical DNA evidence in this case spent months in a private Florida laboratory while Quantico waited. The 4 most important days of this investigation passed before federal agents were allowed to fully engage. And in the neighborhood where Nancy Guthrie lived, the quiet Tucson streets where her neighbors still wake up every morning, people do not know what they are allowed to feel. They do not know if they should grieve. They do not know if hope is still appropriate. They are living in a limbo that no press conference has resolved and no arrest has ended. 3 questions remain open in this investigation. Where is Nancy Guthrie? Is the man on that doorbell camera alive or dead? And who gave the order? Maureen O'Connell, who has worked federal cases for decades, says she has watched cases like this break open from a single phone call, a slipped word at a dinner table, an ex-partner who decided the reward was worth more than the secret. There are so many cases where everyone thinks someone got away with it, and then, a year later, someone is finally in handcuffs, she said. Nancy Guthrie deserves answers. Her family deserves answers. And until someone talks, this case belongs to every single one of us still watching. What do you think broke down first? The sheriff's decision to block the FBI, or something in this investigation we still haven't been told? Subscribe to Crime Orbit and share this video. The more people watching, the more pressure stays on this case. We are not done here.